I'm Keir from Gallifrey Public Radio, a Doctor Who fandom podcast and part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Hey friends, Jordan Woods Robinson here from AMC's The Walking Dead and Blue Man Group, and this is PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture. We're a geek podcast for geek culture, so are you ready to get your geek on? Sit back, relax, grab some gluten-free, non-GMO popcorn, and let's dive into the world pop culture bliss.
You are listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
Captain's log supplemental.
PopXcast.
Hasta la vista, baby.
All right, and we are live here on PopXcast. Just a quick little maneuver there. You guys are doing awesome. Hey, look at this. We got some more space. We have more room in the window now, Austin Burke. How are you? Dude, Austin Burke, how in this world are you doing, son? Somehow I've muted you, and I don't know how to unmute you. Hold on a minute. Come back in here, Austin. Step back in the window. Step back in the window. Yeah, I got you. He's coming back in. We're figuring this out. We're working it out, but it's all good, man. This is GetVocal.com. Austin Burke, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy, what's going on? I like the new look, the new platform. I think there's a lot going on here. I love being able to see the chat. I just like this website, man.
It's pretty cool, right?
So cool.
It's pretty rad. It is pretty rad. And we have a great team already here. We got Lindsay Badgers here, Eric, Luke, William. I don't know. Who's William? Who's William?
I have a few people here, friends of mine from YouTube. We got William, we got Clay. I mean, I put the link out on my Patreon page and a couple people from YouTube in here. So I hope you guys stick around. I appreciate you guys for being here. That's awesome.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, Wilson. Wow.
Wow. I don't know what I'm doing right now.
I don't either, man.
Anyway, I digress. So, wow, this is so cool, man. This is episode 91, Austin Burke. Are you ready to kick this thing off?
Yeah, I can't believe we're almost at episode 100, Joe. We are 9 episodes away, my friend. That's incredible.
All right, let me stop you there. Yeah, we're just a few weeks, maybe a couple months away from 100.
That's wild.
We're just a few weeks away from End Game.
Oh.
I'm telling you, bro.
There are milestones all around. We're talking like in the comic book movie world, in the PopX world. That's pretty cool. What if we do our... When are we meeting up this summer? In June, do you think, episode 100?
I do believe in June, around the 26th, if I do believe.
Well, episode 100, I have to do the math, but it will fall close to then, correct? Or maybe a little before, but that
it could. But I'm sensing some kind of 100 celebration coming on.
Dude, we need to have a party.
Yes.
We don't have a party at this point.
The gears are turning. Anyway.
We'll think about it again.
All right, so hey guys, welcome to PopX, where science fiction meets pop culture. I'm your host, Joseph Burke, Central Florida's seasoned comic book nerd and retro enthusiast. Now, we'd like to welcome everyone joining us live right here on PopX.live chat room, and over here now on a new home at GetVocal.com. Come hang out with us and join the conversation at PopXcast.com. Now, this is your first time tuning into PopX. I just want to let you know how we do things. The first 20 minutes or so we actually spend on what is called the Geek Headlines area. So we go through the Geek Headlines. We give you the what happened this past week. So we kind of lay that out there and just give you a little bit. And then towards the end of the show, that's when we dive into the main topic, and we have some really good open roundtable discussion there. So be sure to check us out. Stay with us. It's going to be an awesome show.
I am Austin Burke, the Appalachian Geek at heart. Be sure to head over to Google Play or iTunes after the show and click that subscribe button. You guys can catch up on some amazing shows from the PopX archive. And while you're there, we would certainly appreciate you guys showing us some love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review. And if you missed a 5-star, if you missed episode 90, where we reviewed Alita Battle Angel and talked about some Batman, Superman picks for who we want to replace those actors, go check out that show. One of my favorite that we have ever done. Also, check our official website at popxcast.com for this and other great past shows from PopX's collective archive of geek goodness.
Oh, dude, you just said that so fluently.
I think it's ingrained in my brain at this point.
Bro, I mean, this is like, holy cow, well, 90-some episodes later, I think you probably got it by now. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We got the PopX news coming to you right now.
Extra, read all about it. This is PopX News, coming to you live right here on PopXcast.com.
All right, PopX News. Want to welcome Lokesh here, Get Vocal team in here already. It's good to see you guys as well. And I want to say a big shout out to Steve Schroyer, one of my great friends here on Get Vocal. All right, so let's kick off the news this week. New adventures of the Orville will take place in the comic books. Quite interesting. Published by Dark Horse Comics, the Orville executive producer, writer David A. Goodman teams with artist David Cabeza, and colorist Michael Atiyeh for the Orville Season 1.5. Now, the series will consist of a two-issue episodes that's set between the end of the Orville's first season and the beginning of the second season. Now, the series begins in the Orville #1, New Beginnings, Part 1 of 2. That sounds really weird. New Beginnings Part 1, 1 of 2, the secondary season of the Part 1, 2 of the New Beginning Part 1, 2. 1. Anyway,
I don't put it past Seth MacFarlane because one, I know he's a massive, just kind of like we are. He's a nerd. He's a geek at heart. So the fact that they have a season 1.5 coming out is really cool, and the fact that it's so complicated is funny. But this show, Joe, have you watched this show? I'm not caught up on season 2, but it's really good. It is good from what I've heard, and I mean, it's one of those shows that I'm dying to watch it because I'm a huge Seth MacFarlane fan. Yes. But I just don't have the time. There's so much stuff. Dude, but you know what, though? Actually, it's in our news headlines. I'm not even going to say it. I'll say it when you get there. But okay. I'm actually excited, though, because the Orville is kind of like, if you know the Seth MacFarlane story, you know he's a huge Trekkie at heart. Him and his father would watch Star Trek all the time. And this is his homage to that whole world because he's always wanted to do a science fiction show where he's paying homage to Starfleet Command. You know? And he's finally doing that. So I think this is the ultimate way to do it, too, because you mix his style of comedy with the fact that they have a pretty decent budget, and it looks good. And they've slowly went from, we started out really funny, but now they have an actual good plot going on. So I can't wait to see where it goes, and I need to catch up. So moving on here, we're talking about the debut of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam. In the live-action DC universe has been a long time coming. He's not going to appear in the upcoming Shazam movie, as far as we know, or in the second Suicide Squad, as old rumors might have suggested. However, The Rock's take on the villain-turned-anti-hero is still getting his own movie sometime in the future, and it sounds as though his flick will have a couple of other recognizable DC Comics names appearing alongside him. So writer Adam Zeitkiel, I hope I pronounced that right, turned the latest draft of his Black Adam script to DC and Warner Brothers at the end of February, and it has some big names throughout its pages. The likes of Hawkman, Stargirl, and Atom Smasher all come face to face with Black Adam at some point during the movie. This is diving deep into the DC universe and pulling out some somewhat obscure characters. Joe, this sounds awesome, man. Well, we've always been seeing those teasers of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson
You know, I think even Boss Logic put out this really great graphic of him as Black Adam. And it just really, I mean, Boss Logic creates so. We need to get him on this show. I mean, he creates so much buzz in the images and the graphics that he makes, and it just literally spawns ideas in the creators and the minds and the executives. But Black Adam, you know, I think it's going to be really cool, and I think honestly, Dwayne Johnson will do a phenomenal job because, well, I mean, hello, he did the Fast and Furious series, and he's just like amazing in that. And his versatility from what we saw in Jumanji was pretty impressive.
He's got range. He's got everything that I think he wanted to have when he first started as an actor. He, you know, it took him a bit because he wasn't the best, but he's worked at it. And that's what I can give kudos to the man for, because he works at everything, and he's getting close to becoming a great, great actor. And I can't wait to see what he does next.
Agreed. All right, so moving on with the nerdy news this week. Adrienne Barbeau, who played the role of Alice Cable in Wes Craven's 1982 Swamp Thing movie.
This is cool.
Oh my God, you guys, are you ready for this? Will return for the upcoming DC Universe series based on the character. Now, Barbeau tweeted that she was, quote unquote, happy to be headed back to the swamps, exclamation, end quote. Now, which does not obviously indicate how large of a role she might have, whether she might play an updated version of her older character or maybe just a stand-in. But we don't know. Did you see the 1982 Swamp Thing, Austin? Have you seen that classic?
I did. And I think the fact that they're doing kind of what the DC Universe does on television, they're bringing back actors that have been in the movies and TV shows. I love that, man. I love that. And this Swamp Thing TV show has me more excited than I have ever been for a DC Universe television show. I can't wait.
Well, now, you know, one of the, aside from Superman, you know, Swamp Thing, I don't know what it is about Swamp Thing, but Swamp Thing... you remember the 90s TV series that came out on USA Networks?
Yeah.
Dude, I was like hooked to that stuff. And I didn't even know there was only like 1 or 2 seasons of that. It was like very low. I watched every single rerun back to back every time it was on. I didn't care if I watched it already. I was going to watch it again. It was like X-Men on Saturday morning. You had to watch it regardless if it was a rerun or not. And it was pretty awesome, man. I'm not going to say, I'm really excited. I think I may have to purchase DC Online just to watch the show.
That, and let me tell you, man, Doom Patrol right now is amazing. Yeah. Doom Patrol is some of the most fun I have ever had with a superhero show.
Wow.
Ever. It is incredibly it is awesome. You just have to watch it, and I'm not saying anything else, but man, I'm telling you,
it's good, right?
Watch Doom Patrol. Yeah. It's very good. Very good. But moving from one DC TV show to another, this is some sad news. Arrow will end following the conclusion of the show's upcoming 8th-season series star. Stephen Amell confirmed today, playing Oliver Queen has been the greatest professional experience of my life. But you can't be a vigilante forever, Amell tweeted. Arrow will return for a final run, and I didn't know this, of 10 episodes in the fall. I like that, keeping it concise. There's so much to say. For now, I just want to say thank you. Joe, what are your thoughts on Arrow ending?
Well, that was the news article I was going to say. You know, with Arrow coming to an end, and we were talking about oversaturating, there's too much to watch. I may finally get caught up on Arrow now. And you know, I'm sad to see Stephen Amell, but I understand it. I get it. It's exactly like how Chris Evans is in the MCU. You can only be Cap for so long. Your body can only hold out and do that kind of physiology, acting and working out and stuff like that. Even with RDJ. And I think it would be cool to see Amell maybe jump ship in sometime in the future, maybe come into the MCU to some kind of aspect. Or maybe he can be on one of the DC Online streaming platforms or something like that. And just, you know, but I'm really excited to see where his acting career goes, because he's just a really well-rounded actor. And for me, he's always going to be my Oliver Queen. You know, just like Christopher Reeve is my Superman, Michael Keaton is my Batman. He's going to be my Green Arrow. So,
Lindsay brings up a great question. Are they ending the others? Where are they going to go with the other TV shows?
That's a really good question, Lindsay and Austin. And I think from what I've heard, there is a lot of rumor and speculation going around DC, CW specifically, that they're thinking about wrapping up Supergirl, DC's Legends, and and even Black Lightning. And I don't know if the Flash is going to be impacted any or not by this, because Flash is such a huge fan following. Flash is even more popular than the Arrow now.
Absolutely. But it's cool, though, because it leaves the window open. If they ever want him back to play the Arrow again and the Flash is still going, he can always come back in the Flash. And same thing with Supergirl and all of those characters. So that leaves the door open for that as well.
Yeah. Want to give a shout out right quick. We have Sean Hockney watching over in the Facebook Live, and we have Marley, and we have John Preto. Marley. You guys are doing awesome. Thanks for joining us tonight on episode 91 of PopXcast. But getting back to the discussion, I think all good things have to come to an end. I mean, it's the nature of the beast. I mean, at some point, the movie train for the comic book movies is going to run out as well. I mean, even though we're riding the coattails of that, it's just how much longer can the industry... You're coming up on, 30-some films now in the MCU?
Jeez.
Seriously, though. We have a Captain Marvel and Black Panther movie.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for those...
10 years ago, did we ever picture a Captain Marvel and Black... Iron Man was still like, oh, wow, Iron Man's a thing. And now we have Black Panther and Guardians of the Galaxy, man. Are you kidding me?
I mean, and it's because of Kevin Feige's trajectory on how he just imagined the release of each of these series and franchises. It was just amazing. And it was brilliant. Probably some of the best executive work I've ever seen. And
agreed.
So, I will just leave that right there and just get off the whole soapbox now. All right, moving along here with the news. Will Smith might be done with DC Comics film franchise. As we know, he just dropped out of Suicide Squad, but it looks like Deadshot will indeed return for the sequel to Suicide Squad with actor Idris Elba. Ooh, I did not know this. Oh my God, stepping into the role. Now, Elba is in talks to replace Smith for Suicide Squad after a meeting with writer and director James Gunn last week. That's right, James Gunn is on board. The report indicates that the meeting with Elba and Gunn turned out very well, making for the very quick development in replacing Deadshot for the upcoming film. Now, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is supposed to reprise her role for the new film, likely picking up after the events of Birds of Prey. Now, other than Deadshot and Harley, the new film is supposed to feature more new characters that takes from the rotating cast of supervillains directly from the pages of DC Comics. So, James freaking Gunn.
Dude, I love it and hate it. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Idris Elba is one of my favorite actors right now.
That's exactly where I was going with this. I love it and hate it, man, because Will Smith was a very good aspect of that film.
He was.
I thought.
Yeah.
One of very few, in my opinion. But if you're going to replace him with anyone, how about an actor who was a bit shortchanged in the Thor franchise, gets another shot in a superhero movie, and this is his chance to be the Deadshot that we have wanted to see. Listen, if he is as good as I think he's going to be, I'd be up for a Deadshot movie, man. This guy is stellar.
Well, I mean, even though Dark Tower wasn't really a good film, I think his role in Dark Tower was just phenomenal. His acting. Agreed. I would love to see Idris Elba kind of maybe in the Blade franchise.
Yes.
Could you see that? You know, like an older Wesley Snipes and Idris Elba coming in as like an antagonist?
Oh, you just blew my mind, man.
Well, here's a side tangent for you. There are rumors. I was reading online today. I get a lot of stuff from like Collider and Marvel Superheroes fan group online, and there is talks of rebooting Blade and bringing back Wesley Snipes as a mentor to a younger Blade. But they're going to be touting a brand new rated R film.
Now, I did hear about a year back that John Boyega from Star Wars, he was all for the Blade role, so that would be interesting.
That would be very interesting.
I kind of like that. And really, if you think about it, Wesley Snipes, I mean, those films they happen so much earlier, and they're in their own little pockets.
They're very 90s.
They're very 90s, absolutely. But it's like, you can say that they're not canon, but even if people thought they were canon, it would be like, oh, okay, I get it, I accept it. So that's pretty cool.
And a lot of people forget that Ryan Reynolds was in Blade.
He was. He was.
He was. Ryan Reynolds was he was a DC guy, but then he's also a Marvel guy. He's all over the place. Deadpool's everywhere.
That's crazy. Okay, well, that's interesting.
All right, what you got for us there, buddy?
All right, so we're moving on to theme parks. Disneyland and Walt Disney World are currently developing Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, a massive immersive experience that will transport guests to the galaxy far, far away during the Walt Disney Company's 2019 annual meeting of shareholders. CEO Bob Iger, the man, confirmed that the attraction would open in Disneyland on May 31st and in Disney World, right where you are, Joe, on August 29th. Are you excited for that?
I am excited, and I am not going to touch Hollywood Studios for a year and a half. And here's the reason why.
It's going to be ridiculous.
It's going to be insane. So
I agree.
All right, so let's back up and look at this. All right, so I know this from experience because I live here in Orlando. Yeah. When Harry Potter, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened up, the line to get in the park was in the parking lot.
Ooh.
Now, Austin, you went to City Walk with us.
I did.
At Universal. How far of a walk is it from the parking lot to Blue Man Group Theater?
It's a pretty long walk, man.
All right, that's to the Blue Man Group Theater. Add another half a mile or 0.8 miles to get into the park.
From that parking lot?
From that parking lot.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Okay.
I thought you meant like a closer
All right, let me
parking
stop you there for a second. If it's
Good
that
Lord.
bad on a franchise that it has its own following, imagine something like Star Wars and Disney. I think the line is going to start at the Florida state line, honestly. I think we're going to be piling in from Georgia.
No, it's going to start from that parking lot at Universal.
I-4 is going to be a parking lot. No, but seriously though, my wife and I, we were actually discussing this just a couple of days ago, and our passes are expiring on April the 1st, and I'm like, honey, I don't think I'm going to be renewing because I'm not going to be touching that side of the park for another year and a half. It's just insane. So I'm going to let all the fanboys get all of it out, and then when it's all nice and calmed down, like Toy Story Land, when Toy Story Land opened up, we didn't go day one. Heck no. But we went a year later, walk right in, get on the ride, enjoy yourself, and don't have to face all that. It's insane. It is very chaotic. And they do push the park to capacity, and they have to shut the gate down at the front door, at the front gate. You can't get in.
You can't get in?
If they reach capacity, you can't get in.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. And Hollywood Studios, the park where Star Wars is at, is one of the smaller parks in the entire Walt Disney World Resort. It is the smallest park. Animal Kingdom's #1, Magic Kingdom #2, and Epcot is a #3.
Oh, wow. I thought Epcot was smaller. You're probably
Epcot,
right. That is.
No, Epcot. Think about all the worlds. You have to walk around the worlds.
Wow. Yeah. Dang, man.
I was just there last night. I should know.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But, so, yeah, I'm really excited for it. I can't wait to see what kind of technology and animatronics that Disney is flooding into this. It's going to be insane. They've already leaked some stuff on their Disney blog of what the new animatronics looks like. It is some of the most fluid motions I've ever seen, how their hands are moving and their gestures and their eyes, and there's just so much going on. It's insane. But all right, so moving along here with the news, we got one more news, and unfortunately I get the bad end of the deal here. This past week was some very sad news that we had from in the world of pop culture. We lost 3 major pop culture icons, if you will. Luke Perry, he passed away at age 52 this past week. Fans may know Luke Perry from 90210, and he's also Archie's father on Riverdale. He passed away, and he had a stroke about a week and a half ago, a week prior to his passing, and the stroke was so severe that they had to put him on life support. And it was really bad, and he just died and passed away from complications of that. And then we had Keith Flint of The Prodigy. He passed away at age 49. The Prodigy, you know, a fire starter, wicked fire starter. Oh, yeah. That's pretty sad. And then Hall of Fame WWE pro wrestler King Kong Bundy. He passed at age 61 from a heart attack. And you know, King Kong Bundy, WWE, he was all over the place. Really well-known wrestler of his time. And just really sad, you know. And they always say it happens in threes. And then you see it, and it's like, oh, my God, it is in threes. And 2 died on the same day. God. Yeah. Luke Perry and The Prodigy, Keith Flint died on the same day. It's weird.
You know what the worst thing was? I saw all of this news, and then I went and watched Captain Marvel and saw the tribute to Stan Lee, and I'm just like, this week it's been bad.
Oh my God. Well, let's don't even say much about the tribute. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, dude, it's insane. Well, you know, speaking of, we're officially done with the PopX news for this week, so we're going to actually be kind of moving on into the main topic of the show. So I'm going to actually open up the seat. We have a special guest joining us here in a minute. I wonder who could be joining. Could it be? Could it be? Wait, it's Lindsay Badger.
Oh,
I haven't seen you. I haven't seen you in like 20 episodes.
I missed you guys. 20.
Where the heck have you been, Badger?
Oh, it's a crazy world we call life, and we just have to take it one day at a time. I've missed you guys. I've missed geeking out with you guys every week. But you've been doing a great job. I've been watching your shows. Don't think I don't miss these shows.
Well, thank you.
Number one PopX fan.
Thank you.
No, it's really cool. Me and Lindsay were talking the other day, and she's like, I really want to go and see Captain Marvel, but I really want to get on PopX and talk about Captain Marvel. I'm like,
I was
okay.
I was nice, and I was just like, if Joe would like to have me back to come visit, I would be happy to come geek out with the guys.
Okay. Well, you did.
That's like saying, am I invited back home? Of course you're invited back home.
Oh, thank you. Well, I picked a good week to come back.
I just give you a topic.
Movie,
talk
guys,
amongst yourselves. Oh my God.
This movie is like really great.
It's really good. It's really good.
To talk about it with you guys.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, we're getting ready to talk about Captain Marvel, and we are going to be actually divulging a few things that probably, if you haven't seen the film, I do have to raise up the flag here. We're going to give you the spoiler alert warning. If you haven't seen the film, well, you've been warned. We'll be right back.
Danger. You are about to enter a PopX spoiler alert. Beyond this point, there is no return. You have been warned.
All right. So.
Oh man, they're pumped up and excited over on our Facebook page.
Are they really
I don't
now?
know if you guys have been keeping tab. Mr. John Preto was just like, let's do this. Engaged.
John.
Go forward.
John.
Giovanni Preto.
What's up, my friend? It's good to see you. Thank you for coming. All right, so let's do this. Let's talk about Captain Marvel. And I think since the lady is here, the lady needs to go first. So how we're going to do this, guys, we're going to do a little round table discussion, what we liked, what we didn't like, how we typically review the movies. And then towards the end, we're going to review it. And then we're going to give you a couple of Easter eggs, just some little nuggets of information from the comics that you may not have picked up on or you didn't know about. So with all said, Lindsay Badger, take it away. Okay. What do you think about Captain Marvel?
As per usual, you guys, I'm always the nerd virgin going into these new franchises. And I really didn't. I know, right? I feel like I always start off my reviews, well, you guys, I don't know anything about this. Well, I really didn't know anything about Captain Marvel other than she was a really cute-looking girl that had a lot of similar traits to Superman. So, or Supergirl, perhaps, I guess, give or take. And then I really didn't know much more than that other than she was some sort of blue-blooded person that was in the Air Force somehow on Earth. I really couldn't connect all the dots. So I was really happy they came out with this movie. And obviously it was in the main time frame of planning for the overall epic saga that we're about to wrap up next month, which I'm super excited
so
about.
Sad.
So for Captain Marvel, I really liked her personality overall. She's snarky, she's got a little bit of an attitude, but she really has a big heart, and you can really tell she has that hero's you know, the standard wanting to make sure to do good and do what's right, and even whenever she was, you know, she lost all of her memories. So she was trying to scrap together, and she always knew deep in her gut that what they were telling her or what they were portraying as her life story or trying to get her to believe was a bunch of not so good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, even from the beginning of the movie, you know that something's up, but the whole point is trying to figure out what that truth is. And I really appreciate how they told that story, because I didn't guess it wasn't predictable for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't predictable how they flipped the script on the Skrull, the war that was going on between the two races, and you know, you immediately at the beginning of the movie think that they're all bad guys and that they're horrible, but towards the end it's not really the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of go along that journey with her. Otherwise, I really, really love all of the nostalgia. Okay, Joe, you're the 80s kid. Now, I was born in 84, but really my true memories and nostalgia pulls mostly from early 90s.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole decade in general, but the early 90s, all of the nods and the little elements, the tiny things I was picking up on, the soundtrack was just like, I was singing. You would have thought it was a Disney movie. I was singing along. Well,
Nice.
Technically it is a Disney movie.
It is, yeah,
but I was
technically.
singing along like it was a princess movie, okay?
Nice.
With like the Garbage and the No Doubt and 9 Inch Nails. They were pulling out all of the perfect classic movies to make that feel. And then they were throwing in little nods like the technology, the computers with the big clunky keyboards and the huge monitors, and
Yeah.
you know, they open the movie with her falling into
A Blockbuster.
and then a Radio Shack down the way, and then she's pulling parts out of a payphone and a Game Boy and mushing it all together.
I saw the Game Boy reference. I was like,
I was like, oh, this is great. Then they go into to space, and they have this super secret hidden lab out in the atmosphere. And there's old clunky computers in this super high-tech ship, which cracked me up. And then there's a Happy Days metal lunchbox, and there's trolls, and there's a Koozball. And I'm like, you're kidding me. There's a pinball machine over in the corner.
oh yeah.
All of this stuff. And I'm just like geeking out over just all the 90s goodness that I'm pulling out of this.
was.
I haven't even dove into the comic book part of this yet.
Yeah.
Well,
Even if you don't understand the full umbrella of the storyline that's going on in this movie,
Mhm.
and you're just enjoying the story for itself, I feel like it's a very good standalone story. But the fact that it ties in Nick Fury's origin story, you're
like
filling
that.
in some gaps
Yeah.
that are really, really missing throughout the last 10 years of Marvel. He's always there, but he's always kind of like a ghost. He's in and out. You don't see much of him. They flesh out a lot of his story,
they do.
which I was really,
And
really
the
happy to be able
CGI,
to
the
understand.
CGI
Yeah,
on
they
Nick Fury and Coulson. My
I
gosh.
commented on that with Josh, whenever my husband Josh, whenever we were watching it last night. I was like, damn, he looks young. They did great on him. I know some of it's prosthetics, whatnot,
Prosthetics,
but
CGI.
they did such a good job throwing it back to what he looked like during that era, and you can really tell that there was some really good research done on how people performed. And whenever you saw remind me, is it Coulson?
Agent Coulson,
Yes.
yeah.
I was like, dude, that's the Shield guy.
Yeah.
That's the Shield guy. And my husband's like, it's who? Now,
Agents
I
of
give
S.H.I.E.L.D.
my husband a hard time. He's not completely up to date on all the details. He has seen all the movies, but he still has some gaps in his holes, in his storylines. I have to help fill them in sometimes. But but I really think that this was a really fun ride. It was like a really feel-good movie where you relate to the characters. The main story carries you up and down through the emotional roller coaster of, losing her family, getting back a new type of family. So, it ends on a really good note. There's not a ton of negative stuff, so I'm not even, that would be nitpicky stuff. It's really an overall good, solid package
Agreed.
movie. I didn't really feel like we had any Transformer movie moments or anything like that in the action sequences.
Go away, Michael Bay.
There was no Michael Bay feel going on, and there was a lot of air fighting. I was really hoping to hear some Danger Zone to get some more Top Gun vibe, but
nice.
the Cat Goose kind of sealed the deal for me on fitting that one in. So.
Well, you were talking a little bit about the story, Lindsay. I think when I was driving home after seeing the film on Thursday night, I was really just I was sitting there in the car and I was just kind of thinking, I was like, man, the story resonates with everything that we go through every day. Yeah. And here's the reason why I say that. You get this girl, and the world has put on her a mold in which she should live. They've created this reality which, to the people of this world, is normal, and they want her to fit into that mold. And any kind of dreams or vision she has, they say, no, that's not real. Don't listen to it.
Yeah, yeah.
How does that sound like the human condition today? And there's just so much symbology encapsulated into that moment.
Right.
And I think there's a really great story in there for a lot of women too, specifically, and that's one of the reasons why I like this film.
There was a lot of that, yeah.
One of the reasons I like this too, and Wonder Woman did the same thing, but it's empowering women to not be living in this mold that society has created for them, but follow your bliss. Yes. And follow your dreams.
It was
and
a very
listen to your heart.
Message.
Listen to your heart. Your gut is your guiding instinct.
Yeah, it was a very, very positive message. I've heard a couple of people be, oh, well, it's just like a Me Too movement propaganda video. No, let's please not package it that way, because that's not the way. Just go watch it and see. It's a positive message for women and girls to not let society put expectations on you and to do your own thing regardless of what the society is saying. It's not a Me Too movement situation.
I agree.
So let's calm down on the political sensitivity and just enjoy the movie for what it is.
I do want to say right quick before I'm gonna let Austin take the seat here next.
Yeah.
If you guys are watching right now on Facebook Live and you want to be on the stream tonight, and if you saw Captain Marvel, go to getvocal.com. That's GETVOKL.com. And you'll see right on the front page, PopX is live, and you can join us right here. This extra window down here, that could be you in about 10, 15 minutes from now.
I do have the link is pinned in the chat as well.
You're
if
awesome.
you just want to click on
Look
that
at
and
you.
hop on over.
You're awesome.
So
Austin Burke, what did you think of Captain Marvel? Likes, dislikes, wins, cons? Go for it.
Guys, everybody's been so positive. Let's bring it. I'm gonna bring the mood down here just a bit. I'm gonna bring the mood down. I'm sorry. I don't want to be that guy, because you know me. I love comic books.
I was flying sky high.
You were, and I'm sorry. Listen, I like the movie. I think the movie's good for what it is. I was disappointed walking out. I have some major issues with the story, and I have some big issues with Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I think she was a bit flat during the entire movie. I think she was very flat. And here's a good example: hero, noble warrior, hero, like that, just line delivery like that. But I don't know whether to blame her as, not her as an actress, because my God, she's an award-worthy actress, but just I don't know if she fit the part, or if it was the direction. So I'm curious to see how the Russo brothers handle her in End Game, because even when she showed up in that post-credit scene, just that line, I'm like, I like that. I needed more of that in this movie, less flat, more excited. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that it was more of her trying to portray herself as like the soldier, because the soldier has no emotions or personality? You are a robot kind of
possibly
behavior.
The mind control aspect, is that what you're talking about?
Well, it's partially, the Kree conditioning, but also on Earth she was in military as well, so it's kind of her embodiment of being a soldier in general, not necessarily an allegiance to one side or the other.
Very possibly, but my issue with that is we didn't see enough of that. So in the trailer we got a lot of her in the Air Force and her with her friend, but in the movie, we're talking spoilers, it's all flashback. We never get it. And I love Lashana Lynch as her friend. I thought their dynamic was incredible. And I love that everything that happened in Louisiana for me was great. Problem is, I got no build up with their relationship. All I saw was a flashback. And then we just jump in and it's like, they know each other. Okay. I needed more of that. I think my issue with this film is the script and where the story goes in general, because there are a lot of things happening. There are definitely things that I love. The Skrull storyline, I wanted them to lead into possibly Secret Invasion. So I'm like, oh, they're going to be the bad guys and all this. But they flipped the script on me, right? I'm okay with that. Listen, where they go with Ben Mendelsohn's character is great. And I want to see him again, because for me, he was a beacon in this film. He was a standout. Nick Fury, like you said, the de-aging technology was fantastic. I think this is the best we've ever seen.
I think it is. It was flawless. I mean, now do we have? I didn't mean to interrupt you, Austin, but is it prosthetic or is that full CGI?
It is, as far as I know, they touched his face up a little bit, but it is 100% the same technology you saw in Rogue One, where they recreated I believe it was General Tarkin. It's the same technology. So that is full CGI.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. We've seen it, Guardians 2 and Ant-Man.
They must have used motion capture on Sam Jackson's face.
Yeah, they would have had to.
Wow.
The best I've ever seen.
Dude,
it's
that was
best.
It was there was
incredible.
there was a moment that I didn't realize, and I want you to get back to your train of thought, but when Coulson is in the light towards the end of the film, he's standing above the car, and I was looking and I'm like, no. And I'm sitting there, this is an HDX screen. I'm like, yeah, no, yeah. It was so real and on point. You couldn't tell if it was real film shot or CGI.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
Yes.
Mind blowing.
Yes.
And I'm talking seamless. Mind blowing.
And you watched it in HDX, so that should have been the opportunity to notice it, right? And you didn't.
Didn't see a thing, bro.
To me, not noticing when something is CGI is the best, because like First Man won the Academy Award for visual effects last year, and everybody's like, visual effects in first. It's because you didn't notice them. That's why they're so good. That's why it won. And I feel the same way about Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Skrull storyline was fantastic. I really liked Goose the Cat. I liked where they went with the references. I really did. But I think the beginning of the film, instead of focusing on what they actually focused on, I think they should have focused on her as a character just a bit more, because it seems like they're very jumpy and a little bit scatterbrained. Now, they get back to it at the end. I liked the end. I thought the end battle was cool, and I loved seeing her when she went full Captain Marvel. But I could tell that these directors and usually I remember the director's name, the director really had not much to do with this movie. It felt like an MCU cycle film, because the third act felt like a third act that the directors have never done anything with a big budget before. It just felt like a very standard, it felt anticlimactic for me, right? Now, the ending, when she goes off with the Skrulls and the beacon with Nick Fury and they're exchanging and everything, I loved that. I thought that was great. But the third act in general for me, and Lindsay, you mentioned the music. I thought the music was great. There is one song choice there at the end, that final battle when she's fighting everyone. I don't think that song specifically fit in that part, because I love the score in Captain Marvel. I think it was along the lines of a Thor Ragnarok-esque score.
It did. It had a very 80s retro, early 90s.
You could hear the synths going on in the background and stuff. Definitely.
I wanted that in that final battle. Where was that instead of playing the soundtrack? I needed score instead of soundtrack. So I have nitpicks, and I don't mean to bring everything down. And I like the movie. I was afraid to put my review out there just because of all of the chaos.
I agree with you on the soundtrack, though, because the music is what invokes your emotions. It pulls you into the character's relationship and with what's going on. And I feel with you, the emotional connection was a little bit flat.
Yes.
On overall, just because we came out of the last Marvel movie that came out was like a huge tear-jerking meltdown of emotional blah. Yeah. And then you come in with this and you're like, you're like, this one's way up here. She's flying kind of in the middle. She doesn't. She's not horrible.
And I'm not down.
She's not like my top 10 Marvel movies either. I'm not gonna put her in the top 10.
Yeah, I'm not downing this film for Brie Larson. Once again, prior to this film, she was one of my favorite actors in the biz, and she still is. I just think as this character, she has a lot to work on. But I want to bring you guys to the fact that in Captain America: The First Avenger, a lot of people, I didn't say this, but a lot of people were saying, well, Chris Evans is kind of flat as Captain America, and then Winter Soldier comes out and it changes everybody's opinion. I think that could happen with Captain Marvel. I think she could get a sequel, or just her in Endgame, where it changes everyone's perception, because she's been gone for so long. Maybe she comes back, she's rugged, she's a bit more gritty, she's seen things, she's actually been in galactic wars,
or maybe she just flew around with Silver Surfer.
Dude, hey, listen.
You're hitting in the nail on the head, because I think once Brie Larson and Captain Marvel falls in the hands of the Russo brothers, which has already happened,
Yeah.
We are going to see a version of Captain Marvel that, yes, this is the introduction of her to the MCU.
Yes.
And there are parts that probably will fall a little flat, yes. But I think when the second time around, she's just going to be one BA. I mean, she is just going to be like rocking the screen, dominant force. We already seen that she can tear through a spaceship with just her fists. I can't imagine what is going to happen when her and Thanos share the same screen together.
Now, they've got to do a lot to prove to me that she is the strongest Avenger, because here's my metric. Dying star to the chest. That's what she has to beat, because that's what happened with Thor. If she can't beat that power level, then I ain't saying she's the strongest, because right now Thor is still, even after this movie, they said, oh, well, Captain Marvel's going to prove she's the strong. No, it didn't. Thor is still the strongest to me.
I'm there with you.
Endgame's got to prove that to me, and I think they will.
I mean, she did fly through an entire,
maybe she'll wield the gauntlet.
Now, dude, if she wields the gauntlet, I'm out. She did just pick up the Tesseract. She just picked it right up.
She picked it up, and it didn't even burn her fingers.
No, so there's something there.
The last time a human touched the Tesseract was Red Skull, and he got transported into the realm, into the realm where the Soul Stone was.
And that brings me, one teeny tiny critique. In Captain America, when the Tesseract falls, it melts through steel and falls in the ocean. In this movie, it falls on a desk, and it doesn't melt.
It's sitting in a metal lunchbox.
And it's sitting in a metal lunchbox. Yeah, two things. I'm like, well, that's continuity, schmontinuity, but whatever. Just minor.
That is kind of strange. I didn't even pick up on that. Yeah. Austin, you have anything else you want to share?
No, overall, I did. I liked the movie. It's not my favorite. It's in the lower echelon of Marvel movies, but even the lower echelon, other than Iron Man 2 and Thor: The Dark World, I like them all. I think they're all really good. So I still like the movie. I enjoyed it for what it was. I just wanted a little bit more. That's all.
Right. Well, for me, personally, I thought the film, there were moments that, no, don't get me wrong. I do love the film. I think it's a very rewatchable film. It has a lot of rewatchability. There's a lot of replay value into it, and I think a lot of people are going to connect with it just for the nostalgia purposes alone, and the fact that Marvel now has a superhero female to rally behind. But there was a lot of moments in the middle of the film that were kind of like a lot of dialogue. There were a lot of conversations with her and Fury, and a lot of conversations with her and her friend from the Air Force. And there wasn't a lot of action. It was just basically them sitting around a table. Yeah, and it just kind of felt a little lackluster in some moments. I'm like, man, there's a lot of conversation going on here. This does not feel like Ragnarok or anything. You take a movie like Black Panther or Ragnarok, there's moments of extended dialogue, but those extended dialogue moments are just wielded with some kind of crazy event that just happens all of a sudden.
Push.
Yeah, there's a push towards some kind of an event. And it was just really interesting for me. But I really loved just the fact of us as the viewer learning her powers for the first time. I really liked that perspective on it, because none of us really knew what her MCU capabilities would be. We know what her powers are in the comic books, but we didn't really know how that would translate into the silver screen. And I think for me, though, it has a lot of rewatchability, and I'm really happy with it. There was a lot of song choices that I felt just was on point, especially some of the early 90s songs. I was like, oh, man. And for me personally, I really dug a lot of the early 90s retro nostalgia, including the Game Boy, the Blockbuster video, the old pinball arcade, and just all the little things that were just kind of woven in. It felt a little like Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy with his little troll doll he has. It kind of felt like wonderfully nostalgic in a way. And I really admire that in this film. I loved Nick Fury's background. I'm not the big fan on how he lost his eyeball with the cat scratch from Goose.
Same.
Not a fan of that. Not a lot. Nope. I was like, oh.
Not nearly as epic as you would think it.
That was just that's it? No, weird silver bullet to the eye from a cat?
Can I chip in real quick? My big issue with that is in The Winter Soldier, he leans over to Captain America and says, last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye. And you get that sense of, okay, there is something there. And when I saw Captain Marvel, the trailer came out, he has two eyes. We're going to see how he loses his eye. And then they turn it into a gag. And it reminded me of in Iron Man 3 when Pepper you think she dies and Tony Stark makes a joke. It's like that humor is not warranted in that moment because we had the potential to do something emotional. I feel the same way about this situation. And they play it off as a joke, and they even say that. They're like, oh, this big epic thing happened, right? I didn't like that decision. I thought it was a bad thing on the director's part.
Yeah, I didn't really
it.
like it. I think that the eye thing should have been probably part of the battle with the Kree or something like that. That like maybe he dove in to try to save someone's life or the little girl's life that was, you know, the friend of Carol Danvers. And I don't know. I think it could have definitely been.
I loved her.
I loved her too. The little girl was adorable. Yes. But yeah, so that's really that was a big thing that stuck out for me because I remember that line he said in Winter Soldier, and I was like, oh, he trusted a cat. Is that what he was talking about?
Wait, what was the alien name? Like a Farfel or a Farkle?
Tarkle, isn't it?
It was something so weird.
Farkle. I loved whenever they scanned the species and they were like, Farkle.
That's not a cat.
World's most dangerous species or whatever.
I have no idea what that was.
Scan the man.
I digress.
No threat at all.
Now let's talk a little bit right quick. We do have a few little Easter eggs that we're going to share, but let's talk Stan Lee honor. All right, the opening of the film right off the bat, it gives you the chills and the feels. The Marvel logo is transformed into an honorarium of Stan Lee.
Yes.
The screen, you got the music and the Marvel logos coming around. You see the letters and all the comics. Well, they've replaced everything with all of his cameos throughout the entire stretch of his MCU career as a cameo king. Mm-hmm. And then the screen goes black. The music stops. Thank you, Stan.
Jeez, man.
I was sitting there like, I was like, oh my God, here we
Josh
go
and I
again.
got to sit at the balcony, and we were eating dinner, and we were waiting on our dinner to come out, and whenever the movie started, and I was just like, are you freaking kidding me right now?
I'm telling you, it really, it set me in a very somber frame of mind right off the bat. And if that was the emotion they wanted to achieve, well, they really accomplished it. But
we had a really great packed theater that you could tell were dedicated Marvel fans, because you could just every time there was a laugh or the Stan Lee thing was like, oh, it was just.
We did too. Opening night, it was just amazing, and we had some I guess what we call them fangirls. We had them in our group, and every time like. Captain Marvel, when she got her suit finally for the colors that it was supposed to be, everybody was cheering in the theater.
Oh, that was cool how she did that on her arm.
Then she was like all gold and yellow.
Girl that got that
oh my gosh, it was so
sweet.
amazing. I loved that moment. But the Stan Lee cameo on the train, did anybody pick up what he was saying and the reference?
He was reading his lines in his script, wasn't he?
No. He was reading from the script of Mallrats, which is a script that Kevin Smith wrote.
Like Kevin Smith did. Oh
yeah, he tweeted that out, and I'm like, that has to be one of the biggest honors of his career.
Because,
like, that's awesome.
Look, the film was in 90... When did it take place? 92, 91?
Oh, you're right.
Didn't you connect that? He was reading his lines for Mallrat. The movie.
For his cameo.
Holy
crap, dude.
Mallrats came out in 1995.
Yeah, Mallrats came out in 95. So the film was set in 95. And he was on the train.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
Reading his lines during the segue in that middle where he has that cameo about women. He was reading that. And the line he was saying is the big line from Mallrats.
Well, I knew it was from Mallrats, but I'm like, that's just a little nod to Kevin Smith. No, the time period
he's reading perfectly.
Here's the crazy one. He played himself.
That's crazy.
He didn't play some kind of character or a mailman or a FedEx driver. He was playing Stan Lee as Stan Lee.
So that means Mallrats exists in the MCU.
It exists. It means Kevin Smith not only exists in the MCU, it means that Mallrats exists in the MCU.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Kevin
crazy.
Smith is like flipping over that, I'm sure.
Dude. Can we just give it up for Kevin Smith right now?
That's
Kevin
awesome.
Smith, we love you, man.
And he's working on the comeback of the
Jay and Silent Bob.
The Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. That's one guy on a side tangent. That's one guy who's been through heck and back. He's had a heart attack. He's had loss. He's had tragedy. His films are not as lackluster, and he but my God, his spirit. Oh my God, his
dude.
spirit.
He's a great person.
That's all that
Great
matters.
He's a great guy.
Big heart.
All right, so we're wrapping it up. I think honestly though, Captain Marvel for me was a very awesome film. I can really see how a lot of people would rally behind the hero like that. You know, with the troubled background, the troubled identity, trying to discover yourself. There's a lot of good stuff there, especially for the younger crowd, and I can definitely see that. And for me, I'm definitely, it's going to be one that I own, obviously, in the 4K when it comes out. It's going to be one that I will go back to and watch many times over for the nostalgia. It's like Thor Ragnarok. You just can't watch enough of it. But I think that at the end of the day, it's going to be, for me, you want to go ahead and rate this, guys?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start, well, actually, Lindsay, we'll go in the order we went. Lindsay, Austin, and then myself. Lindsay, what are you rating it on a 1 to 10? You can use points, too, like 0.5 or 0.2 or whatever.
Oh, okay. Well, after listening to all you guys, Austin, you brought up some really good points, which, brought me back down to earth, because I was like, I love this movie. Kind of averaged me out. No, everything was really great overall for the movie, but I'm going to stick it at about let's just do a 7.7.
7.7. Okay, we have a 7.7 from Lindsay Badger. Austin Burke.
Fair.
I'm going 6.8, which on my scale is good. Anything above a 6 for me is solid. I am excited to go back and rewatch it, though, because watchability factor is big, and I think this is a movie that's going to prove to be that, so I'm excited to see it again.
All right, so we have a 6.8, a 7.7. I am going to give it a 7.9.
Nice, very good. And if you guys over in the chat or listening have a score you want to put in, we'll read that out.
If you're
Sean
on Facebook
said that he
or
gave
PopX,
it a 4.5.
A 4.5. Sean Hockney.
Sean Hockney over on Facebook gave it a 4.5.
All right. Well, we're gonna open the seats up here in just a minute. So if you guys
no,
want
I'm sorry.
What do you give it?
An 8.8.
An 8.8.
Sorry, he changed it. 8.8.
Okay. What is he doing over there, Sean? What are you doing?
He probably meant a 4.5 out of 5. That's probably what
4.5. Okay, so an 8.8 out of 10. That makes sense.
That makes a lot of
Very
sense.
good. I was like, it wasn't that bad.
Well,
but it's your opinion.
If you guys got a couple minutes, we're going to go ahead and get into some Easter eggs right now, and then we're gonna open up the seat, and if anybody wants to join, they can. Sweet. So we're going to be talking just a couple things. There's just like 3 or 4 things here we're going to talk about, just some of the characters from it. And I'll go first, Austin, then Lindsay. The character Marvel. Now, why is it Marvel, get it? Yeah. Anyway, so before Carol Danvers, there was Miss Marvel. Before Miss Marvel, there was Warbird. Before Warbird, there was Binary. Before Binary was Captain Marvel, or Marvel, which was the first. Now, despite some not terribly memorable early comics by Stan Lee, Roy Thomas, Gene Colan, and the others, he came into his own a few years later with much improved costume, and he became a very cool piece of the Marvel Comics mythology, thanks in no small part to the efforts of Thanos creator Jim Starlin. Now, we have a more thorough history of Marvel and his place in the Marvel Universe. You could see that right on the cinema. Now, Marvel actually dates back to the first Captain Marvel. So that is where the origins of the Captain Marvel mantra, the mantle, if you will. It's like, think of it in terms of Green Lantern. You can wield the ring, but you are the mantle of the Green Lantern. You can wield the suit and the power within you if you are Marvel. Does that make sense?
Dang, man, that's a good way of putting it.
So good.
Stop it.
So good.
I'm here all week. But anyway, no, but so that hopefully that'll shed a little light on why she's kind of like the mother figure. And she sees her as mom because she is mom of the Captain Marvel spirit.
Oh,
I like that.
Joe. That's awesome.
All right, so Skrulls. Austin, tell us about those Skrulls.
Moving on. So the Skrulls were basically the second ever official villains of the Marvel Universe. First appearing in Fantastic Four #2, they quickly became perhaps the single most important alien race in Marvel's stable. We have a whole new history of the green shapeshifty crew right here. So Talos shares the name with Talos the Untamed, a far more malevolent and traditionally super villainous Skrull from the comics. See, that kind of threw me off in the movie, but I'm like, I like where they're going. They changed it up a little bit.
They did.
That's about where the similarity ends, as that Talos could not shapeshift. Interesting. So the Kree propaganda that Skrulls were silently infiltrating and taking over planets is basically the plot of Marvel's Secret Invasion event,
which you alluded to.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can't wait to see that if they do it, where it was revealed that a number of Marvel characters had been replaced by Skrull doubles. The Skrull Kid being afraid of Carol because of her uniform with the Halistar is something that comes up pretty frequently in the comics, including provoking a fight with Alpha Flight and scaring a refugee kid. So, like I said, they went a different direction in the film than they did in the comics, but I do think they can bring it back around because just because one Skrull is good does not mean they're all good.
Very
and Talos was the main guy.
Talos was the main guy, right? the scientist that was at the base. He's a great actor.
Your science guy?
You know, it was honest though. I really, because when I saw the Skrulls were going to be in Captain Marvel, I'm like, oh my gosh, because I knew in the back of my mind the Skrulls have been in the Marvel Comics history since 1960s, and so but they turned it around and flipped the script into a dynamic I did not see coming. The Skrulls ended up being the good guys, and they just needed a home.
That was surprised. That was like
I was like
heartfelt. It was heartfelt.
Oh my God, that is awesome. What a twist.
Yeah. But I mean, it made more sense once you started unraveling all of the truth. And I was like,
it made
Ronan
a lot of sense.
Being on the bad guy team totally makes a lot more sense than him being on the good guy team.
I needed more Ronan.
He's in one scene with bad makeup. I'm like,
he was a whole lot of holograph.
It was like pre-God Ronan, before he had the stone.
Yeah.
A lot less black stuff going on.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready to learn about?
All right, Lindsay Badger. Let's hear about Goose.
All right, we got to talk about Goose. I'm kind of glad I get Goose. All right, Goose hates everyone who isn't Carol, so it's not surprising that Fury lost his eye. The Flurkin. There it is. The Flurkin first appeared in giant-sized Mrs. Marvel #1 when she came to Carol in the middle of a flight and never left. In addition to stealing every scene of this movie she was in, Goose often rode in Carol's lap or on the dash while she flew. While the humans were unaware that Talos immediately identified Goose as what highly dangerous Flurkin. Yeah, that was like you called it a what?
A Flurkin.
In the comics, this role went to Rocket Raccoon, who was equally distrusting of the creature. I could see that.
I
can hear Rocket saying that. And yay for Flurkin kitty tentacles and expanding multi-dimensional mouth pockets. This cat stole the show for me. It was the comedy that this movie needed really badly, and I'm glad that he was there.
The cat was a speechless Rocket Raccoon. Inside and out.
And the hairball tesseract thing at the end was like the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
If I dare reference food while talking about hairballs.
That was nasty.
It was gross but fantastic at the same time. Because I mean, it's like, the cat's not going to pass that thing, and you have to finish the storyline of how the tesseract comes out of the cat. Because I mean, it would be weird to think of it any other way.
It was really cool though how they introduced. I mean, and we also have the dog too in Guardians of the Galaxy. We have a lot of animals. Apollo. Yes. We have Apollo. We have Rocket. We have Goose.
Did Goose ever end up off Earth and in the Collector's Edition up there in the Guardian of the Galaxy?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I'd have to go back and see if there's a cat in any of the cages in Collector's bins. I don't recall there is. I think it's with. I think Goose is with Carol the whole time.
Cool.
All right, so moving along here, we have Nick Fury. Now, we learned a little bit about Nick Fury in his movie. His middle name is Joseph. Nicholas Joseph Fury, just like in the comics. Now, he was born on the 4th of July because, of course, he's freaking Nick Fury. And like his comics counterpart, he served in a war, attained the rank of colonel, and then went into being a super spy. Now, in the comics, Nick served in World War II, not Vietnam, which is where the movie's timeline places take Nick Fury's military service. And he did his super spying in the 60s at the height of the James Bond craze. Makes a lot of sense. Nice. In the comics, Fury was born in New York City, presumably on the Lower East Side, where his co-creator Jack Kirby grew up. Nice, Jack. But here it's Huntsville, Alabama. Now, Fury makes a reference to doing spy work in Budapest. Now, there's a mysterious reference to a mission that went sideways for Black Widow and Hawkeye in Budapest in the first Avengers movie, but that probably doesn't have any bearing here on Captain Marvel. So there's references to stuff that's been going on in the MCU for close to 15 years or 10 years or whatever, and it's just interesting to see all that stuff done.
If there's one thing that I did like about this is they did tie in a lot of different plot threads.
They did.
With different films, so I thought that was cool.
It is.
So moving on, I guess one of our final points, Yon-Rogg. So Yon-Rogg has been around since the very first Marvel version of Captain Marvel, where he was Mar-Vell's commanding officer, sending old Marv on dangerous missions that he would sabotage in the hopes of getting rid of him. Why? Because he was in love with the Kree medic, of course. Una, was it Una or Una? I want to say Una. Who, of course, only had eyes for Mar-Vell. Did we mention that the earliest Captain Marvel comics were very bad? Because they are. Anyway, Yon-Rogg
They suck.
since Carol Danvers, Carol Danvers beginning as a superhero, he accidentally caused Carol to get powers when he fought Mar-Vell over that psych magnetron, of course. More recently, he resurfaced with a new identity to threaten Carol's loved ones and use her as a human battery in an attempt to turn New York City into Hala after the Kree refused to send a rescue mission to Earth. So he seems like a really nice guy, doesn't he, guys?
He's a staple Kree.
He's a
staple Kree. Yeah.
Yep.
So we actually learned the Kree are the bad people in this film. Yeah. The Skrulls are the innocent bystanders.
And that's so interesting because I honestly, I didn't see it going in that direction, even though Ronan's on that side. And I'm like, I should have seen that.
I didn't even see it. Well, so we talk about the end scene credit. The end scene credit where, they've makeshifted the pager, and there's Steve Rogers, Cap, and they're paging the heck out of this. This is like now we're in the current present day. And they have the pager. They have the pager that's from Infinity War, and all they're trying to do is they're trying to just keep it going, keeping the page going. Whatever, who's it calling? And all of a sudden, she shows up.
Boom.
Yeah. Oh, and she's got her bee face on too. She's like, "What do you want?"
No, she's like, "Where's Fury?"
Yeah.
Where's Fury?
She was like, "Where's Fury?"
Here's the cool thing, though. She didn't even know what she's being called for, right?
No,
she has no idea.
didn't.
Here's something else that I found interesting. I think Fury knew that because wouldn't he have pressed it during the first Avengers? Wouldn't he have pressed it during Ultron? I think he knew that there was a greater threat coming. How did he know? Maybe he's tried to page her and she just didn't pick up. She was on voicemail or something. But I think he knew that there was a massive world-ending threat coming, and he waited to hit it at the perfect time. So I like that. I think that's cool.
It is a nice nod. So that's a couple little Easter eggs that we have for you. I'm going to open up the seat if anybody wants to hop in right quick. If you saw Captain Marvel and you want to share your thoughts, we got about 5 minutes or so, and we're going to open it up here on Get Vocal. If you want to come join us, we have Get Vocal, GETVOKL.com. That's where we are broadcasting from tonight on PopXcast 91. You're more than welcome to come and grab the hot seat. Now, if you haven't seen the show and you made it this far, if you haven't seen the movie and you made it this far, that's probably not good. No, it's not good at all.
Just learned a lot.
You just learned a lot about stuff that you probably had no idea.
It's still posted over there too, if you guys.
Yeah, but we're going to hang out here for just a couple more minutes. Does anybody have any closing thoughts on Captain Marvel?
I say as usual for any movie that's hyped one way or the other, to go to the movie theater and watch it yourself and put your own opinion on it.
There you go.
What do you guys think about the Rotten Tomatoes review bombing? It's 36% audience rating. Let's come on, let's debate. Come on, guys.
I say take any of those rating systems with a very light grain of salt.
Yep, agreed.
It smells like a big steaming pile of.
I don't trust those at all.
No, that's pretty nasty, pretty gross.
You know, here's the cool thing, though. CinemaScore, the only valid audience rating system. And even that, sometimes I'm like, I don't trust because it's a lot of people who wanted to see it. Gave it an A. That's the only validation that you can count on for an audience review. CinemaScore gave the movie an A. So if you want to know how the audience truly feels, look at CinemaScore for Captain Marvel. And Rotten Tomatoes, just fix your freaking fix it. Good Lord.
Fix it.
God.
Fix it now.
Like I want to be on there. Like I want you to fix that.
I know you guys were talking a lot about how there was a lot of, back and forth dialogue stuff. But I really enjoy how Carol kind of did like a quick crash course education with Nick Fury about the scrolls and how they shapeshift in their memories and how that played into other parts of the movie. I thought that was really kind of a cool little thing that they pulled there.
All right, so
there's a missed opportunity for me, though, is the cat scratch to the eye. Wouldn't it have made so much sense is last time I trusted someone, a scroll. Would that not have made so much sense to make that how he lost it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's too easy.
Did you think that the tray of eyeballs was kind of corny at the end? Because I was just like, really? You have to go that far? Can we not just like slap an eye patch on and move on?
Well,
we don't have
he had one duct tape to his face.
Well, he had the little shield, but
it was a duct tape. It was like freaking. It was like desk tape on his face.
No.
Why?
My wife had an eye problem when she was younger, and she had the exact same like duct tape over her eye.
My husband did too after his surgery. It's just a shield taped on with surgery tape.
Wait, Madison was Nick Fury?
Yeah, that's what I told her. I'm like, hey, there you are, babe. She's like, shut up.
Okay, I'm trying to remember. Is it his left eye, right?
Yeah, it's this one.
Yes, yes, left eye.
No, my husband's Nick Fury then.
Oh, gosh. Lord have mercy. All right, guys, we're going to wrap things up here. Lindsay Badger, it's always good to see you, my dear.
Well, I am glad that I was able to return and hang out with you guys again. I miss it. It felt like old times.
You want to hang out with us and like kind of like as the credits are rolling, you can kind of just wave on camera with us?
Yeah.
Okay. Austin Burke, are you ready?
Yep, I'm gonna take her home, guys.
Take her home,
I
babe.
am Austin Burke at the Burkinator. You guys can search and find me. I'm on YouTube. I put out, I think, 11 videos in the last 5 days on YouTube. So I've watched a lot of stuff. 2 shows on Netflix, and I don't have a life, but that's okay. We are part of an amazing network called the Gonna Geek Network for all things even more geeky. Head over to thegonnageek.com and check out some amazing podcasts on our home network and connect with us on social media. You guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and Pinterest, all at PopXcast. Send us comments and suggestions via email at popxcast@gmail.com. And for future and past shows, visit our official website at www.popxcast.com. And Joe, as always, an awesome host. Take us home, brother.
All right, I am Joseph Burke, a.k.a. at Joseph Burke Arts, all over the... Wait a minute. Lindsay Badger.
Lindsay.
Do it.
You were part of the show today, girl. Come on now.
There's no script. Do it, girl.
Come on now.
Do it.
Where can we find
She doesn't know what to say.
I'm like, what do we read?
What?
And of course, hats off to our PopX team. And that's it for this episode of PopXcast. Join us next time for next episode that is unnamed.
Yes. No, I was going to say, how can people find you? And I am Lindsay Badger at... There you go.
No, and I'm Lindsay Badger at LR Badger all over the internet. So you just find me. I'm here.
Yeah, just find her on.
I'm like, what do you want me to do here? Throw me a bone.
I am Joseph Burke, a.k.a. at Joseph Burke Arts. That's JOSEPHBURKEARTS, all over the internet. And, of course, hats off to amazing Team PopX. As always, Mike, we missed you. We love you. We hope you're doing well. And that's it for this episode. And we'll be back in 2 weeks for another brand new episode 92 with some cool, great new content. So we want to thank all of our listeners for listening and downloading and just being faithful supporters. And there have been so many people come in this evening that's just been phenomenal. And you guys just
can we
fill our
give
hearts
some
with
mad
joy.
props for our awesome audience up in the Get Vocals tonight?
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I've been naming them all night. So they've been doing fantastic.
This chat's incredible.
All right.
Yes.
So we are going to go. You guys take care, and we will see you next time only on PopXcast. Get your geek on. Oh, yeah. From everyone at PopXcast, thanks for listening. Please make sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/PopXcast, and click the follow button to get our live stream notifications. Drop us an email, popxcast@gmail.com. Be sure to check out this and more great content on the Gonna Geek Network at GonnaGeek.com. Get your geek on.